The small survey ship Horizon drifted slowly through the debris field. Lieutenant Commander Alice Wright stared at her scanner screen and frowned. Something was different about this reading. "Captain, I'm picking up an energy signature," she said. "It's faint, but it shouldn't be here." Captain Frank Russell looked up from his datapad with a tired expression. "We've been through 3 debris fields already this week, right? They're all the same, just junk from the old war." Alice shook her head. "This one's different. The pattern is artificial, purposeful." The captain sighed. "We're an archaeological survey vessel, not a treasure hunter. We document and move on." "Sir, with respect, this could be important." Alice pointed to the pulsing dot on her screen. "This reading suggests a power source that's been active for centuries." The 5 other crew members on the bridge looked up with interest. Lieutenant Olivia Grant, their communications specialist, moved to Alice's station. "She's right, Captain," Olivia said. "That's not random radiation." Captain Russell rubbed his eyes. "Fine. We'll take a closer look. But this is the last detour before we head back to base." Alice smiled. Small victories were still victories. The Horizon changed course, moving deeper into the field of twisted metal and frozen debris. This area had once been the site of a massive battle, one of the last stands of humanity against the Virexian Dominion over 300 years ago. Chief Engineer Jack Martinez joined them on the bridge. "What did you find?" "Not sure yet," Alice said. "But whatever it is, it's big." As the Horizon pushed forward, the debris thinned out. Then, in the distance, they saw it, a massive dark shape blocking the stars. "Full stop," Captain Russell ordered, his voice suddenly tense. "Lights." The Horizon's external floodlights activated, illuminating a section of the object. Smooth black metal reflected the light. The shape extended far beyond their beam's reach. "That's a ship," Martins whispered. "A human ship." Alice checked her readings again. "It's over 2 kilometers long, sir. The energy signature is coming from deep inside." Captain Russell leaned forward in his chair. "No human ship that size has been built in centuries. Not since the Titan-class battleships," Alice finished. "The last fleet Earth ever built." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew the stories, how Earth's final defense fleet had been defeated, leaving humanity at the mercy of alien powers. Humans were now just a minor species in the galactic concordat, their military potential deliberately stunted by their so-called allies. "Can you identify it?" Russell asked. Alice enhanced the image, focusing on a section of the hull. Faded lettering became visible. "U.S. Dauntless," she read aloud. "That's impossible. The Dauntless was reported destroyed in the Battle of Proxima Centauri." "Apparently not," Martins said. On the other side of the galaxy, Admiral Kelvin Monroe walked the gleaming halls of Concordat Command. As one of the few humans to reach high rank in the Concordat military, he carried himself with careful dignity. An aide rushed up to him. "Admiral, we've received reports of increased Virexian activity in the Orient sectors. They seem to be searching for something." Monroe frowned. "What could they be looking for in that empty region?" "Unknown, sir, but they're being secretive about it." Monroe's communicator chimed. He glanced at the message and his eyes widened slightly. "Change of plans," he said. "Prepare my ship. I need to inspect our border patrols personally." Back at the debris field, Alice prepared to lead an exploration team to the Dauntless. She checked her oxygen levels and comm system. "Remember," Captain Russell warned, "this is just reconnaissance. Document everything, but touch nothing." Alice nodded, but something deep inside her felt drawn to the ancient vessel, as if it had been waiting specifically for her. "Team ready, sir," she reported, beginning approach to the Dauntless. As their shuttle moved toward the massive battleship, none of them noticed the small Virexian scout ship that had just entered the edge of the system. Its sensors focused directly on the awakening giant. Alice floated through the dark entrance of the Dauntless. Her team followed close behind. Martinez handling technical scans, Olivia monitoring communications, and Security Officer Peter Collins watching for any dangers. Their lights cut through 300 years of darkness. The air is stale but still present, Martinez said, checking his scanner. Some internal systems must still be working. Alice nodded. Let's find the bridge. They pushed deeper into the massive ship. Unlike the debris outside, the interior was remarkably intact. No signs of battle damage were visible. It was as if the crew had simply stepped away, expecting to return. This doesn't make sense, Olivia said. If the Dauntless survived the war, why was it abandoned? They followed the main corridor toward the center of the ship. Old signs in English guided their way. After 20 minutes of careful movement, they reached a sealed door with Command Bridge printed across it. This is it, Alice said. She ran her hand over the control panel beside the door. To everyone's surprise, it lit up with a dim blue glow. Power after all these years. Collins gripped his weapon tighter. Martinez examined the panel. It's some kind of backup system. Impressive engineering. Alice pressed her palm against the scanner. Nothing happened. It probably needs officer credentials, Olivia said. Alice frowned. Let me try something. She pulled a small tool from her belt and opened the panel. After a few adjustments, the door slid open with a hiss. The team moved inside. The bridge was massive, at least 3 times larger than the horizons. Dust-covered consoles formed a circle around a central command chair. Large view screens covered the walls, all dark and silent. Start documenting everything, Alice ordered. Martinez, see if you can access any of these systems. As Martinez approached the main console, the doors suddenly slammed shut behind them. Red emergency lights activated, bathing the bridge in an eerie glow. What did you do? Collins asked, raising his weapon. Nothing. Martinez backed away from the console. A humming sound filled the room as more systems activated. The view screens flickered to life, showing static. I think the ship is waking up, Alice whispered. The central screen cleared. A man's face appeared, stern, with gray at his temples and eyes that had seen too much war. Identify yourselves, the face demanded. You are aboard a United Earth Navy vessel under emergency protocols. Alice stepped forward. I am Lieutenant Commander Alice Wright of the Concordat Archaeological Survey Ship Horizon. We found your vessel abandoned. The face studied her. Concordat. I know no such power. What year is it? It's 2753 Standard Calendar. Alice replied. The war ended almost 300 years ago. The face showed no emotion, but the silence stretched longer than normal. I am Captain Samuel Blackwood, commanding officer of the U.S. Dauntless. Or rather, I am the artificial intelligence construct modeled after him. Alice's heart raced. The ship has an eye. I maintain core systems and protect this vessel until proper command can be restored, Blackwood explained. If the war is truly over, then protocol requires verification. Before Alice could respond, Olivia's communicator beeped urgently. Commander, the Horizon is hailing us. Emergency signal. When Olivia activated her communicator, they heard only static and distant explosions. Horizon, come in. Olivia called. No answer. The AI Blackwood accessed ship sensors. Your vessel is under attack. Virexian energy signatures detected. The view screen shifted to show the Horizon. A sleek alien ship fired upon the small survey vessel. As they watched, the Horizon split apart in a ball of fire. No, Alice cried. She turned to the AI. We need to help them. Negative. This vessel is not combat ready. Defense protocols are primary. Collins slammed his fist on a console. Those were our people. The bridge shook as something hit the Dauntless. The Virexian vessel has detected our power signature, Blackwood said. They are now targeting this ship. Can you do anything? Alice asked desperately. Blackwood's digital face showed the first hint of expression, determination. Basic defense systems are functional. However, full activation requires human authorization. Specifically, command-level DNA verification. "Test us," Alice said. "One of us might qualify." The AI nodded. A small panel opened on the captain's chair. "Blood sample required." Alice stepped forward and pressed her finger against the device. A tiny prick, a flash of light, and then silence. Blackwood's eyes widened slightly. DNA pattern recognized. Partial command access granted to Lieutenant Commander Alice Wright. The AI paused, studying her face. Genetic match to Commander Elizabeth Wright, First Officer of the U.S. Dauntless. "Welcome aboard, granddaughter." Alice stared at the AI in shock. "Granddaughter? That's impossible." "Your DNA confirms it," Blackwood replied. "Commander Elizabeth Wright placed the ship in emergency hibernation during our last battle. She must have survived somehow." Another blast rocked the ship. The lights flickered. "We can discuss family history later," Martine said. "Right now, we need to survive." Blackwood nodded. "With your partial command access, I can activate basic defensive systems and begin self-repair procedures." "Do it," Alice ordered. The bridge came fully alive. Consoles lit up as power flowed through long-dormant systems. The floor hummed beneath their feet. "Initializing nanite repair systems," Blackwood announced. "Activating Level 1 defensive shields." On the view screen, they watched as a blue energy field flickered around the Dauntless. The next shot from the Virexian ship hit the shield and dispersed. "The shield won't last long at current power levels," Blackwood warned. "We need to restart the main reactor." Alice nodded. "Tell us what to do." "Chief Engineer Martinez, take this." A small compartment opened, revealing a black device. "This will guide you to engineering." "Lieutenant Grant, I need you at communications. We must determine the current galactic situation." Martinez took the device and headed for the door with Olivia. "What about our weapons?" Collins asked. "The Helios array remains intact but dormant," Blackwood replied. "It requires special activation codes that only full command access can provide." Another hit shook the ship harder this time. "Shield at 30%, Blackwood reported. "We cannot sustain this defense." Alice gripped the captain's chair. "Can we run? Does the ship still have FTL capability?" "Jump drive is operational, but requires significant power. Engineering must restart the reactor first." In engineering, Martinez stared in awe at the massive chamber. Unlike modern fusion reactors, the Dauntless had something different. A swirling blue core contained in a transparent cylinder. "What is this technology?" he asked the small device Blackwood had given him. "Quantum fold reactor," the device answered in Blackwood's voice. "It draws energy from subspace. 300 years ago, it was experimental. I assume it's still classified now." Martinez whistled. "This is well beyond current Concordat tech. No wonder the Virexians want this ship." He followed the device's instructions, moving from station to station, reactivating systems. The blue glow in the core grew stronger with each passing minute. Back on the bridge, Olivia worked at the communications console. "I'm picking up Concordat military channels," she said. "There's a lot of chatter about Virexian movements along the border. Can you establish a secure connection to anyone who might help us?" Alice asked. Olivia frowned. "There's a human admiral in the Concordat fleet, Kelvin Monroe. His security codes are different from the others, more complex." "Try him," Alice said. "If he's human, he might understand what this ship means." As Olivia worked, Collins monitored the Virexian ship. "They're calling for reinforcements. We'll have more company soon." Suddenly, the lights brightened. The ship's hum grew louder. "Reactor is online." Martinez's voice came through the comm. "We're at 40% power and rising." "Excellent work," Blackwood said. "Rerouting power to defensive systems and jump drive." The Virexian ship launched another volley. This time, the shields held firm. "I've established a connection with Admiral Monroe's flagship," Olivia announced. It's heavily encrypted. Should I open the channel? Before Alice could answer, Blackwood interrupted. Be cautious. The Concordat you serve may not be what you believe it to be. What do you mean? Alice asked. This ship carries more than weapons. It holds the Prometheus Protocol, humanity's last and greatest secret. Those who betrayed us in the war would still seek to control it. Alice hesitated, then nodded to Olivia. Open the channel, but limit information. We need help, but we also need answers. The screen flickered, revealing Admiral Monroe's stern face. His eyes widened when he saw the bridge of the Dauntless. This is impossible, he whispered. The Dauntless was destroyed centuries ago. Apparently not, Alice replied. I'm Lieutenant Commander Alice Wright. We accidentally awakened this ship, and now we're under Virexian attack. Monroe leaned closer to his screen. Listen carefully, Commander Wright. You must bring that ship to these coordinates immediately. The fate of humanity may depend on it. Behind Monroe, Alice noticed a display showing multiple Virexian fleet movements. This wasn't just about one ship. Something much bigger was happening. Reactor at 60%, Martins reported. Jump drive ready for short-range translation. Alice made her decision. Admiral Monroe, we'll head toward your position. But we need time. This ship hasn't moved in 300 years. Monroe nodded. I'll send ships to help, but they won't arrive for at least 6 hours. You need to hold out until then. The screen went dark as the connection ended. He's hiding something, Collins said. Blackwood's digital face appeared on a nearby screen. All commanders hide things, Officer Collins. The question is whether his secrets align with our survival. Martinez's voice came through the comm system. Reactor at 80%. We can make a short jump now, but the navigation system needs calibration. Alice, Olivia called from her station. 3 more Virexian ships just appeared on long-range sensors. Alice gripped the command chair tighter. We can't wait for Monroe's help. Blackwood, can you get us out of here? I can, but I need full access to navigation systems. That requires higher command authorization. How do I give you that? There's a full D&A verification protocol in the captain's ready room. It's more thorough than the emergency scan we performed. Alice turned to Collins. Guard the bridge. Olivia, keep monitoring Virexian communications. Try to figure out what they want with this ship. The captain's ready room was just off the main bridge. Unlike the rest of the ship, this room looked like someone had just stepped out moments ago. A coffee cup sat on the desk, the liquid long evaporated. A small computer terminal activated as Alice entered. Please proceed with full command verification, Blackwood's voice instructed. Alice placed her hand on the scanner. A more intense light passed over her skin. Blood sample required, Blackwood said. A small needle extended from the device. Alice pressed her thumb against it, wincing at the sharp prick. Sample accepted. Processing genetic markers. While the computer worked, Alice noticed a small frame on the desk. Inside was a photo of 2 officers, a stern-looking man she recognized as the real Captain Blackwood, and beside him, a woman with Alice's same green eyes and determined expression. Commander Elizabeth Wright, Blackwood said, noticing Alice's interest. Your grandmother was one of Earth's finest officers. The computer beeped. Verification complete. Command access granted to Acting Captain Alice Wright. Captain. Alice looked up in surprise. Emergency succession protocols are clear. With no other command staff present and confirmed Wright lineage, command falls to you. Before Alice could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Direct hit to our aft section. Olivia's voice called over the comm. The Virexians are focusing fire on our engines. Alice rushed back to the bridge. Status. The first Virexian reinforcements have arrived, Collins reported. They're attempting to disable us, not destroy us. They want the ship intact, Blackwood concluded. The Prometheus Protocol is still their primary target. What exactly is this protocol? Alice demanded. Blackwood's expression became grave. The reason humanity nearly won the war. The reason we were betrayed by our allies. I cannot reveal more without absolute confirmation of your intentions. Another blast rocked the ship. Hull breach on Deck 12. Martinez reported. Nanite systems responding, but they can't keep up with multiple hits. Alice took a deep breath and sat in the captain's chair. It adjusted to her form automatically. Blackwood, with my new command access, what options do we have? The Helios array is now available, but at minimal capacity. We also have limited maneuverability. Can we jump away from here? Yes, but we need a specific destination. Random jumps are dangerous after 3 centuries of galactic drift. Alice thought quickly. Can we reach these coordinates? She entered Monroe's location. Negative. That would require multiple jumps at our current power level. Then find us somewhere safe to make repairs. Somewhere the Virexians won't follow easily. Blackwood processed this request. There is one possibility. The Denaris Nebula. Its radiation would mask our signature and interfere with Virexian sensors. How far? 1 jump. But the radiation will affect our systems too. Repairs will be slower. Another hit rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. We're out of options, Alice said. Martinez, give us everything the reactor has. Olivia, broadcast a distress signal to Monroe with our intended coordinates. Collins, prepare for possible boarding attempts. Alice straightened in the captain's chair, feeling the weight of command settle on her shoulders. Blackwood, plot jump to the Denaris Nebula. Let's show the Virexians what this old ship can still do. For the first time, the AI's face showed a hint of a smile. Jump coordinates plotted. Helios array charged to defensive capacity. The Dauntless Awakens, Captain Wright. The Dauntless emerged from FTL jump inside the Denaris Nebula. Purple and blue clouds of gas surrounded the ship, crackling with energy. On the bridge, emergency lights flashed as systems struggled to stabilize. Jump complete, Blackwood announced. All primary systems operational, but radiation is affecting our sensors as expected. Alice steadied herself in the captain's chair. Damage report. Hull breaches on decks 8 through 14. Martinez reported from engineering. Nanite repair systems are working, but the radiation is slowing them down. Reactor stable at 65%. The nebula will hide us, but for how long? Collins asked. Virexian ships have limited radiation shielding, Blackwood explained. They will not follow us deep into the nebula without risking severe damage to their systems. Alice nodded. That gives us time to make repairs and figure out our next move. She turned to Olivia. Any response from Admiral Monroe? Nothing clear. The nebula is interfering with communications. Olivia adjusted her controls. I'm picking up fragments of Concordat transmissions. There's a lot of activity. Something big is happening. Alice stood up. Blackwood, I need answers. What is the Prometheus Protocol? And why are the Virexians so desperate to get it? The AI's face appeared on the main screen. Follow me to Science Lab 1. It's time you understood what this ship truly carries. The Science Lab was massive. In the center stood a cylindrical chamber filled with swirling blue and white energy, similar to the ship's main reactor but smaller. This is a prototype of the Prometheus Protocol, Blackwood explained. The production version was never deployed. Alice approached the chamber carefully. What does it do? It was designed as the ultimate defensive technology. It creates a field that neutralizes all weapons fire within its range by altering the quantum state of energy weapons and disrupting the molecular bonds of physical projectiles. Martinez whistled. A perfect shield. More than that, Blackwood continued. It can be tuned to specific energy signatures, allowing friendly fire to pass through while blocking enemy weapons. With full deployment, it could have protected all of humanity's colonies simultaneously. So, why didn't we use it to win the war? Collins asked. Blackwood's expression darkened. Because our supposed allies feared it more than they feared the Virexians. The Dauntless was preparing for the final deployment when we were betrayed. The other species in our alliance sabotaged the mission. They couldn't allow humanity to possess such power. Alice frowned. But that doesn't make sense. Why would the Virexians want it? Wouldn't they have been defeated by it? That's what we need to discover, Blackwood said. The historical records show the Virexians as aggressors, but if that were true, why would they want this technology rather than simply destroying it? Before anyone could respond, Olivia's voice came over the comm system. Captain, I've decoded more Concordat transmissions. The Virexians have launched a major offensive against 3 border colonies. And there's something else. Admiral Monroe has been relieved of command. He's being accused of treason. Alice exchanged looks with her team. The timing can't be coincidence. No, Blackwood agreed. The reawakening of the Dauntless has triggered something larger. Old powers are moving again. The ship suddenly rocked violently. What was that? Alice demanded. Energy surged from within the nebula. Collins reported from a nearby console. Something's out there. The view screen activated, showing a massive shadow moving through the gas clouds. It can't be, Blackwood whispered. The shadow grew closer, and a ship emerged from the nebula. It was nearly as large as the Dauntless, but with a design Alice had never seen before, angular and predatory. Virexian Dreadnought, Blackwood identified. Titan class. I thought you said they wouldn't follow us into the nebula, Collins said. Standard Virexian ships wouldn't, Blackwood replied. This is no standard ship, that design. It's from the same era as the Dauntless. The comm system crackled. A deep voice spoke in perfect English. U.S. Dauntless, after 300 years, we meet again. I am Grand Marshal Kordax. It seems we both survived the final battle. Alice looked at Blackwood in confusion. Kordax was the Virexian commander during the last war. The AI explained quietly. He should be long dead. As should the Dauntless, Kordax continued. Yet here we both are, artifacts of a war built on lies. I offer you one chance, humans. Surrender the Prometheus Protocol, or be destroyed. The truth has remained hidden long enough. Silence filled the bridge of the Dauntless. Alice stared at the Virexian dreadnought on the view screen. What does he mean by lies? She asked Blackwood quietly. I don't know, the AI admitted. My records only contain what Captain Blackwood knew. Alice tapped the comm. Grand Marshal Kordax, this is Acting Captain Alice Wright. Why would you want the Prometheus Protocol? It was designed to defeat your forces. Kordax laughed. A strange, rumbling sound. Is that what you believe? Your ancestors created something far greater than a weapon, Captain Wright. They created the key to balance. The ship's sensors beeped urgently. Multiple ships entering the nebula, Collins reported. Concordat signatures. They're following Monroe's final transmission, Olivia said. His flagship is among them. Alice felt trapped between 2 forces she didn't fully understand. Blackwood, what's our status? Reactor at 70%. Jump drive needs 10 more minutes to recalibrate. The Helios array is charged to defensive capacity only. Can we fight our way out? Not against both a Virexian dreadnought and Concordat forces. Collins checked his readings again. Captain, the Virexian ship is not powering weapons. They're just waiting. Alice made a decision. Open a channel to both Kordax and the approaching Concordat fleet. The view screen split, showing Kordax on one side and Admiral Monroe on the other. Monroe looked disheveled, his uniform torn at the shoulder. Commander Wright, Monroe said urgently, do not listen to the Virexian. They've launched attacks across 3 systems. They want the Dauntless to finish what they started centuries ago. Kordax shook his massive head. More lies, human. Ask yourself why this admiral comes in a damaged ship, relieved of his command. Ask why the Concordat fears both Virexians and humans working together. Monroe's eyes widened. Right, that ship carries technology that could destabilize the entire galaxy. The Prometheus Protocol was banned for a reason. Yes, Korax agreed, because together, humans and Virexians would no longer need the Concordat's protection. Alice looked between the two commanders. Both of you stand down. The Dauntless isn't going anywhere until I get real answers. Martinez's voice came through on a private channel. Captain, I've been studying the Prometheus device. There's something odd about it. The containment field has two different genetic markers as authorization keys. What do you mean? Alice asked. One is human, but the other, it's not in our database. I think it might be Virexian. Alice's mind raced. She turned to Blackwood. The protocol requires both human and Virexian activation, doesn't it? The AI's expression showed surprise. That information was classified beyond my access, but it would explain much. Alice addressed both Monroe and Korax. The Prometheus Protocol wasn't a weapon. It was a joint project between humans and Virexians, wasn't it? Korax nodded slowly. Before the war, our species were beginning to cooperate. The protocol was to be our greatest achievement, a defensive system that would protect both our worlds. But others saw our alliance as a threat. That's absurd, Monroe shouted. The Virexians have been our enemies for centuries. Because those who became the Concordat ensured it, Korax replied. They sabotaged the project, turned our people against each other. My ship and the Dauntless were both thought destroyed in that final battle. We were betrayed by the same forces. The Concordat ships moved into attack formation. Monroe's face hardened. I tried to help you, right? Now I have my orders. Surrender the Dauntless, or we will open fire. At that moment, Martinez called from engineering. Captain, the reactors reached full power. All systems online. Alice stood tall in the captain's chair. Admiral Monroe, I will not surrender this ship. Grand Marshal Korax, I need proof of your claims. The proof is in the protocol itself, Korax answered. It cannot be activated without both our species working together. That was its true purpose, to ensure cooperation, not domination. Weapons locked onto the Dauntless from all directions. The ancient battleship stood caught between its old enemy and its supposed allies. What are your orders, Captain? Collins asked. Alice looked at her small crew, then at Blackwood's digital face. The AI gave her a slight nod. Blackwood, activate the Helios array. Full power. That will drain the reactor, the AI warned. We need to show them all what this ship can really do, Alice said firmly. It's time the Dauntless fulfilled its original mission. The Dauntless hummed with power as the Helios array charged. Lights dimmed across the ship as energy redirected to the ancient weapon system. Array at 90%, Blackwood reported. Targeting systems online. On the view screen, both Monroe and Korax watched with tense expressions. Last chance to stand down. Alice warned them both. The Dauntless may be old, but it can still fight. You're making a mistake, Monroe said. That ship belongs to humanity's past. The Concordat protects us now. Protects? Alice asked. Or controls? You've kept humans technologically stunted for centuries. Because of what happened before, Monroe shouted. Humanity nearly destroyed itself with its own ambition. Korax rumbled. Another lie told by those who fear our combined strength. The Concordat ships moved closer. Weapon systems locked onto the Dauntless. Array at full power, Blackwood announced. Captain, if I may suggest, aim between the fleets. Show them our capabilities without causing casualties. Alice nodded. Target the empty space between the Concordat and Virexian ships. Target locked, Collins confirmed. Fire. A brilliant beam of white-blue energy erupted from the Dauntless. It sliced through the nebula gases, causing them to ignite in spectacular waves of color. The beam stopped short of either fleet, but the display of power was unmistakable. Both fleets pulled back slightly. That was only 10% of the Helios array's full capacity. Alice said to both commanders. The next shot won't miss. What do you want? Monroe asked, his voice tight. The truth, and a chance to finish what our ancestors started. Alice turned to Olivia. Open a channel to both fleets so everyone can hear this. Olivia nodded. Channel open. All ships receiving. This is Acting Captain Alice Wright of the U.S. Dauntless. 300 years ago, humans and Virexians were working together on technology that would have benefited both our species. That alliance was deliberately sabotaged by those who later formed the Concordat. They've kept our peoples at war for centuries to maintain their control. She paused, letting her words sink in. The Prometheus Protocol requires both human and Virexian activation. It wasn't designed as a weapon, but as a shield, one that would force our species to cooperate. I propose we finish what our ancestors started. The bridge fell silent as they waited for a response. Monroe spoke first. Right, you can't trust the Virexians. This is a trick. If it is, Alice replied, then the protocol won't work. But if Corax is telling the truth, we have a chance to end centuries of needless conflict. Corax's massive form shifted on the screen. I will come aboard your vessel, Captain Wright. Alone. Let us test the truth together. This is treason, Monroe shouted. No, Admiral. This is peace. 30 minutes later, the massive Virexian Grand Marshal stood in Science Lot 1. He towered over the humans, his scaled skin reflecting the lab's lights. 300 years I have waited, Corax said. My ship, like yours, was placed in stasis. We have both awakened for this moment. Alice stood before the containment chamber. How does it work? Together, the Virexian replied. He placed one clawed hand on one side of the chamber, your hand opposite mine. Alice looked at her crew. They nodded encouragingly. She placed her hand on the other side of the chamber. The Prometheus Protocol activated. The swirling energy inside the chamber intensified, changing from blue-white to a golden glow. It recognizes us both, Corax said softly. The golden light expanded, flowing through the ship's systems. The protocol is integrating with the Dauntless, Blackwood reported. All systems enhancing. On the bridge view screen, both fleets watched in awe as the Dauntless transformed. A golden shield extended outward, not just protecting the ship but expanding in a wide bubble. What's happening? Alice asked. The protocol creates a field where weapons cannot fire, Corax explained. But ships can still move through it. It forces peace by making war impossible within its range. As the golden field expanded to encompass both fleets, a new message appeared on all ships' communication systems. It was a recording, showing both a human woman and a Virexian standing side by side. If you are seeing this message, they said together, then the alliance has been restored. The truth can finally be known. We are stronger together than we ever were apart. Alice recognized the woman immediately, Commander Elizabeth Wright, her grandmother, and beside her, a younger Corax. The real final mission of the Dauntless, Blackwood said quietly. Not to win a war, but to end one.